Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Sunju. I know it has been a very long time since I have filmed a video, but I have been incredibly busy. I graduated from my master's program and I moved to a different state, and I've just been kind of spending the last couple weeks getting settled in a new routine, in a new place, and I wanted to come back to my channel with something a little bit lighter and easier. So I decided that I wanted to film a TBR video for you guys. August is my birthday month, and this year I really wanted to film a birthday TBR. Since about January, I really decided to get serious about my reading goals. I've always been like an avid reader, but over the last, I would say 2-ish years, I've really tried to make an effort to put a lot of time into reading as a hobby, and I was really busy as a student. I didn't always have a lot of time, and so January of this year I really sat down, I made a reading journal, I made goals for myself in terms of what I wanted to read, branching out into new genres, just trying to push myself to read more, and I graduated my program, so I've had a lot more free time to read. And I've actually already read 30 books this year, which is only 10 books away from my goal for the whole year. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I do plan on doing like a mid-year video for all of the books I've read so far, and that will be coming soon. I usually try to make my TBR something that's tackling multiple aspects of my reading goals, like one book from my physical TBR, one book as an anticipated read, one book in a genre I don't usually go to, one book in a series I've been trying to do. So for the month of August, I really wanted to just do whatever I wanted to on my TBR because it's my birthday month. So today I do have 6 books here that are going to be on my TBR, and I do have some anticipated pickups for my birthday. I do have a couple books that I am sure I'm either going to buy myself or people in my life are going to buy for me that I also want to put on my August TBR, so I may include those as well, but the books I'm going to be showing you are just from my physical TBR. Okay, so the first book that I want to read this month is Us Against You by Frederick Bachman. This is the second book in the Beartown trilogy. I finished the first book earlier this month, I believe, or last month, and it took me a little while to get through, but I really liked it. I'm not going to give really any insight on what I felt because I'm going to leave that for my mid-year video, but I will say that it was a 5-star read for me, and I'm really excited to get back into this. I would have picked it up sooner, but I was working through a different series before now, so for my birthday month, I really want to get into the second one. I would assume it's going to pick up where the first one left off, which will be good, obviously. I hope there aren't any major time jumps. I will say that in the last book, the ending felt interesting to me. Again, I don't really want to get into it and I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm really curious to see how we start the second book off. But I did love the characters, I did really like this world, and although Frederick Bachman's writing can be dense, it's very poetic and it's really something that you have to get used to, but the writing style is beautiful and I'm really excited to start this one. The second book that I'd like to get into this month is Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood. I am an Ali Hazelwood stan. I absolutely love everything that she's written. I have a whole section on my shelf that's dedicated to my Ali Hazelwood books. I do believe that I own almost every book that she's written. I think the only book that I do not own is Check and Mate because it's about chess and it's a YA. I'm not against young adult novels. I actually enjoy young adult novels, but I think the idea of it being young adult and chess is not something that's interesting to me. But I do have a desire to read her entire backlog, so I might get that book out from the library instead of buying it. But Ali Hazelwood is an author where I automatically buy her books and read them, and I've loved all of them. The only ones I haven't read to this point are Problematic Summer Romance, Love Theoretically, and her novella trio thing. So I'm really excited to get into her newest release. I've been hearing a lot of really positive things on the internet about it, and I'm excited to get into it. I really loved Not in Love. That's my favorite Ali Hazelwood book actually, and I know I've seen a lot of people who did not enjoy that one, but I really loved it. I thought it was really great. I loved the characters, I liked the romance, I liked the plot, I liked the spice, and the fact that we get to see a little bit more of those characters in this book while also focusing on 2 secondary characters from the first book is really exciting. I believe this one is focused on Connor Harkness, who is the male lead from Not in Love's best friend, and then it also focuses on that male lead's younger sister Maya, and it's their love story like between the 2 of them. I know that there is an age gap in this. I know that there's like a very much will they won't they kind of thing happening, but it seems like they both want to, but I'm assuming they do. I've also heard that the spice in this is really nice, and I do like spice when I'm in the mood for spice, if that makes sense, so I am really excited to read this one. Speaking of spice, the next 2 books that I have on my TBR are books because I am craving something a little bit spicier and romantic, and since it's my birthday month, I'm gonna read as much of it as I want to. The first book I have is Wild Love by Elsie Silver. This is her Rose Hill series, and it is book 1. I think she's already on like 3 or 4 of this series, but I picked this one up after it came out and I haven't read it yet. I was working my way through the Chestnut Hill series and I was really debating whether I wanted to start her Gold Rush series or this one, and I landed on this one. I'm not really sure how spicy this book is, but I do know that I love the way that Elsie Silver writes spice, and I do like her writing style. And there is also a quote on the front here by Ali Hazelwood saying that she really liked it, and I love Ali Hazelwood, so I really do think I'm gonna like this one. I do believe this one is about a billionaire who moves back to a small town. He opens a recording studio, and he also has like a daughter who randomly comes out of the woodwork claiming that that's her dad. So he's juggling being a parent for the first time because she's 12. And then there's also the romance between himself and his best friend's sister. So I guess it's kind of like classic romance tropes. It's single dad, it's best friend's sister. I also think I heard that she intends for this entire series to be based around single dads, and I don't know that I've read that many books with the single dad trope, but I think the only one I can remember reading is The Nanny. I don't really have any particular feeling towards children being in books or not being in books. I think they can add a lot. I also think they can take away from the story, but knowing Elsie Silver, I think it will be a fun read. The other book I am anticipating reading and being pretty spicy is The King of Wrath by Anna Huang. I know that this is supposed to be a dark romance series, and there are multiple books, and I believe that they're all named off of like the 7 deadly sins. I can't remember what video I was watching where somebody recommended this book or this series in general. I believe it was a video about romances or dark romances, something along those lines. And I've heard different things about this series in particular, so I thought, why not pick it up and give it a try? I am not a huge dark romance reader, but I do think that it's something I am willing to try and branch into. I've been doing a lot of that this year, and I have liked a lot of genres that I did not anticipate enjoying. So I'm going to dive in with this one. You guys let me know in the comments if you've read this series and how you feel about it, where it ranks in terms of dark romances. Like, am I going in the right direction or not? I'm not sure. But I do believe this is a marriage of convenience trope, and I think that it's also going to involve forced proximity because they're going to get married. It's between a billionaire and also a woman whose parents are trying to use her to elevate their status as a family. It seems like they don't really like each other in the beginning, but then they can't resist each other by the end. And I know that in dark romances, the themes are kind of heavy and it can get spicy in like a really dark way, and I don't really know how I'm gonna feel about it, but I am super intrigued to start the series. The next book on my TBR for my birthday is Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. I have to say I have been so hesitant to pick up this book. I have heard a lot about it. I know it's really popular in the romance circles. I know that a lot of people really enjoy it. I also know that it's like supposedly a toxic romance. I just have never really been super interested in it. I think the reviews are really good, but when I read the synopsis and I hear about the themes and that's a toxic romance, I really just don't know if I'm going to like it, and so I've not picked it up. But I was recently watching a video by Sarah Corelli, and she mentioned that Magnolia Parks is like one of her favorite books ever, and she reread it for her birthday month. And I just see how dedicated the fans are to the series. I see that there's merch and people make Pinterest boards and book journal spreads, and they read and reread the series, and I just feel like there's no way a series has that dedicated of an audience if it's not good, right? I mean, I could be wrong, but I do think that the book itself and the synopsis itself are not what is drawing me to the book. It's the fact that it has such a cult following that is drawing me to it, and I'm trying to remain open-minded about it, and if I like it, then great, I have a new series to read, and if I don't like it, then oh well, I don't. And I did pick up this book from Half Price Books, so I saved a little bit of money by not purchasing it full price, so if I don't like it, I'll just re-donate it or something like that. Okay, the last book on my birthday TBR that I am so excited for is Marked by PC and Kristen Cast. This is a, I believe, like 12 to 15 book young adult series by a mother-daughter duo, and it is called the House of Night series. Oh my gosh, I grew up on this series. I read through this entire series when I was like a freshman in high school. I really enjoyed it. I have been seeing a lot of like nostalgia videos lately, and I definitely want to reread some of the things I read growing up, but I've also seen some pretty fun videos of people like tier ranking their nostalgic books or childhood series, and just a lot of topics in general surrounding like the dystopian era for young adult novels, and then like the vampire kind of era. And I was a preteen teenager in those prime years, like Twilight, Vampire Diaries, Hush Hush, Fallen, Matched, Selection, Hunger Games, what was the other one? Divergent. All of those came out when I was like in high school. So I never really got into Twilight. My sister did. I was kind of more into like the angels, demons kind of side of things rather than like vampire or werewolves. However, I do remember picking up Marked at a library because it was like a vampire series, but there were elements of like magic and other things that were more in my wheelhouse than just a straight vampire romance. And I remember this series inspired me to be a writer. It inspired me to just, I can't explain how much this series meant to me. I don't know that I finished the whole thing. I do know that I read up to like book 10 or 11, but I loved these characters. I wanted to be like the main girl in this book so bad. I really felt like it shaped a lot of my personality at the time and my interests, and I did attempt to write 2 separate novels when I was younger because I was really inspired by the story, and I never lost my passion for like writing short stories or poetry, and I also never lost my passion for this series. So when I was in Half Price Books, I saw it on the clearance shelf and I was like, that's really funny. It's so strange that they're putting this absolutely amazingly beautifully written novel on clearance. And I picked it up because it was like $3, and I decided that I wanted to reread the entire series. So I am going to start that, and I'm thinking about turning it into a video series, reading through the entire series. I'm also thinking about just making a video series in general where I read through some of the series I loved as a kid, or maybe really popular young adult fantasy series that are around now. I already acquired other books like Red Queen, Cruel Prince. I think I have the Truly Devious series, and there are a couple other from like my childhood that I would be kind of interested in rereading, so you guys let me know what you think about that, but I do think I'm going to go ahead and do that. So anyway, back to the book. This book is about Zoe, who is marked as a fledgling vampire and goes to the House of Night, where she is going to train to become an adult vampire, and she has to go through something called the change, which is when she becomes an adult vampire, and not everybody goes through the change, so it's kind of like exclusive. You really got to work hard. And she discovers that she's not your average fledgling. She has like a bunch of powers that nobody thought she could have or that hadn't been seen before. And when she's at the school, she's also not the only person who has kind of like unique abilities as a fledgling. So she discovers that the leader of this elite school group called the Dark Daughters is misusing her powers, and she kind of like gets tangled up in that situation to fight for what's right, essentially. And I honestly don't remember a lot of this book. I remember like very important or crazy plot lines that happened throughout the series, but I don't necessarily remember everything in this book. So I am excited to reread it, and I'm just excited to get back into this world. It meant a lot to me growing up, and I think for my birthday, there's nothing more that I want to do than read the House of Night series. Okay guys, that's the video for today. It's a little bit shorter. I don't have a huge TBR. Also, like I mentioned, there are going to be some books that I anticipate getting or picking up this month that will be added to my TBR after I get them. Some of the ones I can think of are The God and the Gumiho and potentially Silence of Bones. I'm not really sure. They're both books written by Asian American women, and I am an Asian American woman myself, so I am really excited to start reading books from authors who are not just traditionally published white female authors. I do think it's important to not only have more people of color within the publishing space. I think it's important to also read the books that are published by people of color and published by people who are in minority groups, and that are also published by people who are traditionally underrepresented, because the more we consume those books, the more we're letting the publishers know that we value those stories and voices and that we want to hear more of them, and hopefully that will encourage the publishers to allow more publishing opportunities to those that don't traditionally seek them. So I do recommend that you guys start picking those kinds of books up if you don't already. I do also have an idea for a video where I sit down and talk about my favorite books that are published by women or men of color or people who are in underrepresented groups, in order to kind of bring a spotlight to them and hopefully encourage you guys to read them as well. So stick around if you want to see that, as well as my mid-year wrap-up where I go over the 30 books that I've read this year so far. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really happy that you were here. I hope you liked my video. If you did, or you like me, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. I'd love to have you here, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye!